Welcome back to Call Me By Your Game, the podcast where I, your host, Connor McCabe, bring on a guest to hear from them about a meaningful or memorable video game from a particular moment in their life. On the show, you'll know we talk to our guest as much about what made playing that particular game special as we will get into the context of their life and how and when they had this meaningful time with it. A little bit of housekeeping up top. Is it anything that my guest or I plug today? You can scroll down wherever you're listening, whether you're listening in your favorite podcast catcher or watching on YouTube. If you hear a plug that you're like, I am just dying to follow that link, scroll down wherever you're listening. I've got it organized nice and neat. It's one of the ways I can contribute my type A personality to the show. So if you want to follow something, whether it's a podcast, a show, whatever, scroll down and the link will be there for you. Now, I'll finally go ahead and, complete the housekeeping and introduce my guest for today's episode. So please welcome a returning champion of the show from episode 9 when we discussed SSX Tricky. Please welcome actor and Virgin Airlines stan, Kimia Bephoornia.
Hello, what's up? I'm back. Can you believe it? 200 episodes and more later.
The guests, I could just hear them clamoring. When is Kimia coming back? And
Yeah,
today's the
totally.
day.
Here we are.
It only took 4 years later. I'm thinking about it too, and I don't remember, being that you were on one of the earliest episodes of the show.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that one would have come out in like early January. It's not important, but my show, I started it. I think the first episode came out at like Thanksgiving, so I had like 4 or 5 before the new year. I don't know. This is important crap that my brain doesn't need to know. But you also, that episode, there's so many things I remember about it. And the primary thing is that this was in the era where we recorded in person, and I would
Mm.
play the game with my guest for about 30 minutes before. Do you remember anything about playing SSX Tricky with me that day? Because I remember some fun details.
Oh my God. Connor, I don't remember a single thing.
It's okay. It was seared in my brain. We played SSX Tricky. You famously grew up playing it on the
Yeah.
PlayStation 2, and I made you play it on the
Oh
GameCube.
yeah, I remember. Freaking the GameCube too, which is like a console I had maybe for like 3 months and then I sold it back to GameStop. So I already was like, this is not something I'm used to. I remember that.
Yes, that's so funny. I just remember that, like, any game like Tricky, or I don't know if you played the Tony Hawk series growing up,
Yes.
but I was a GameCube kid, so I was used to the wacky control scheme.
Mm-hmm.
But it is different than it functions on the PS2. And I just remember you being like, Connor, did you set me up to
Yeah.
fail? Like, was
Yeah.
this pointed? The
Oh
video's
my
still
God.
on our YouTube channel, by the way.
Oh, good. I'll have to go back and look at
Yeah.
how mad I was at you.
Some of those videos have like there's one like yours, I think, has a decent amount of views. Vic, they did one with me too, talking about a Batman game. That one, like, no surprise, also has those videos have more views than my episodes that come out today, which is
Oh my
just
gosh.
so silly.
All right.
All that being said is that, you're one of my friends who plays video games. It's not often that I try to get you on a show. It's been a little bit too, but I'm always
Yeah.
happy to talk games with you. Just in case the listener, this is their first episode getting introduced to you. We know each other through the improv comedy scene. We're both actors. We met on an old mess hall team years ago that comes up too frequently, called Busters.
That's
Um,
right.
but it would after that time ended, would come to see each other around a bunch. But
Yeah.
outside of being a GameCube hater and a PS2 stan, what do you want the listener to know about you? Do you want to share anything with us today?
Great question. What can I share with you? What do people like to know? Connor,
Is
what
there
do
any you
people
want to share
say?
anything about
Like,
what you do? Anything
let's
you have coming
see.
up?
Well, there's not much coming up.
Gosh
We're
darn,
in a slight drought, are we not?
I sure feel that
Um,
way.
Here's something. Okay, here's a show I've been doing that's been really
Ooh,
fun. Have you heard? We're doing Mamma Mia, but different.
I have seen you in some Instagram stories.
Okay, this show is great if anyone wants to check it out. I think we're at the Dynasty typewriter now. We've upgraded
Oh
from the
my goodness.
UCB. Yeah, it feels like Broadway when you're at the Dynasty typewriter because they put like microphones on your face and
Oh
it's like
wow.
they do lighting and tech and blah blah blah. Anyway, not that UCB doesn't do tech, but you're just like it's different.
Totally.
The show is exactly what it sounds like. It's Mamma Mia, but different. It's like an ABBA jukebox musical, but every 2 months, a different writer writes the story. So it's all ABBA songs, different story every time. So if anyone's interested, just follow my socials probably, and you can come find a link to that show. That's something I'm excited to talk about. So good,
It
good. I
I'm
thought of something.
Hey, you did. I'm really proud of you, by the way. I
Thank
really
you.
want to come to one of these because you are involved with this. Somewhat recent guest Patrick McDonald is
Oh
involved
yeah.
with this. We already mentioned Vic. I think Madison Lannacy is involved.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just kind of like a murderer's row of like some of the funniest people, including yourself. So yeah, what's like a recent example of a show that you did?
I'll tell you all the ones we've done so far. Okay,
Sweet.
because we've done three Mamma Mia's so far. The first one took place in Andorra, which was like old Renaissance town, and it was like a
Cool.
love triangle between a baker, his brother, and two women who are sex fiends that live in the woods. The second one took place in the NICU, and it was formula babies versus breastfeeding babies. Keep in mind, all of this is just like with ABBA music. We sing
Yes.
almost the same ABBA songs for every one of these shows. And the last one, Patrick actually wrote the last one, and it took place in Appalachia. We called it
Okay.
Appalachia, and it
Great.
was about this like family of moonshiners that lives in the woods and is haunted by a cryptid, which I played. It was a cryptid, and the ABBA songs we did like bluegrass versions of them for this last one. Um,
Oh my
very
goodness.
cool. Yeah. So it's always a fun time. And we only do each one of them twice. So it
Okay.
truly is like, you know how everything is like a limited drop? Like anytime you want to get a new shirt or some shoes, they're like, ugh, product drop and only 10 people can have it. And
Yeah.
you have to sign on right online, Reddit on time. That's what we're doing with Mamma Mia, but different. You can only see these twice. Okay. So
Nice.
get on the product drops.
It's somewhere between, any traditional improv show will do, which you literally will only see once, or any other scripted show, which I don't know whether it's like Prime the musical that Moongoon's doing that
Oh,
like they
yeah.
do a million times. It's somewhere in between that, and by somewhere I mean just one more than an improv show.
That's right. Exactly.
That's really exciting. I think what I'll do for that specifically is I'll look up a link to your next upcoming show at the Dynasty Typewriter and put a link in the show notes for any LA listeners
Yes.
uh who wanna check that out. Um
Perfect.
that's so great though. I'm glad to hear you're having fun with it.
Yeah.
Did you get to share what you wanted to? Did that fill your cup?
Yeah, that really filled my cup. It's really the most fun I've been having in the last couple months is doing this dumb little show.
Ah, I'm so glad. Well, I'll go ahead and just keep this thing moving then. We're gonna get into, some of your recent history with gaming pretty soon. But before we do, I'd love for you to introduce the game you've brought on for today's main event and call me by your game.
Okay, the game that I have brought for today is Shrek Super Party.
I can't wait. Been doing a lot of research for this one, and this is just gonna be a special episode, I think.
I think so.
But we're gonna save that for the main event. So after the break, we'll get into all things Shrek Super Party. Because you're a returning guest, I'm not gonna ask you about your storied history with games. If
Mm,
the listener wants to hear your history up until, late 2019, early 2020, then
sure.
they can go listen to the original episode, episode 9. Um, but as far as recent history goes, I want to know. I want to start with asking you some very basic questions. The first
Mm.
of which, this is normally what I save for the end. What have you been playing most recently? Are you playing anything now, or is there anything in the last few months that has really done it for you?
The thing I've been playing, okay, by myself, I've been playing Chrono Trigger, which I don't
Excuse me?
remember if I texted you about this or not, but yes,
I don't think you did. This is an amazing surprise.
yes. Which I had never heard of. Here's what I did, Connor. I got this. Have you heard of the Analog Pocket?
Have I heard of it,
There
Kimia?
you
I
go. You
might
gonna
have
play?
one
Of
right
course.
here.
You have everything. Of course you do. But I like a couple months ago
Yeah.
maybe kept seeing it pop up and I was like, what is this? Do I
Yes.
want one of these? It's pretty cool, huh? And then I was like, okay, as a treat, I'm gonna get myself one. So I got one. And then for the longest time I didn't know how to use it.
Yes.
Because I'm stupid. I'm stupid and you need to know how to like turn it on and upload things on it. So I went to my friend Nick Luciano and I
Oh
said,
yeah.
Nick, set this up, please. I've had it for months and I haven't done anything. Okay. So he set it up. I got the software on there and then I was like, great. And now I have every game ever. And he's like, no, you have to download them. And I was like, oh. And he's like, and you know it's illegal, right? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, this
You basically led me to the bank to rob it, and you're telling me I've got to go in?
I like should have done my research. I didn't know what this device was. I like just
Yes.
saw ads that were like, you can play any game ever from any handheld device that you always had.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, that rocks. Why would I try to source these old games for my one Game Boy Advance that I still have
totally.
when I could just have them all? But he was like, yeah, you're basically torrenting them. A thing I've never done. I know a lot
Yes.
of gamers do that, or like everyone in college, that's how we watched movies, but not me. I was
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah. And don't
So
worry,
he,
just so you know, like, and it may not always the most popular take, but when it comes to emulating games, I'm very pro that, especially games that are this old that there are very limited ways to access them, and the publishers have essentially like refused. You can find this on Steam, but it's not a good version of the game. I
mm,
just want you to know this is a safe space to talk about
okay,
this.
okay. Because I was scared, one, that it's bad to do, and then two, that the government was gonna find me. And then Nick was like, I've been doing this my whole life. They don't care. I also felt bad because I tried to like find an old game that I'd never played, one of the Zeldas or something. I like found an old cartridge
Oh yeah.
online and I ordered it, and then when I got it, it was like a freaking scam.
I have definitely ordered like a Game Boy Advance game in the past that has been a bootleg copy.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
and then so I was like, well, I tried to be noble. It didn't work. I didn't know that the analog pocket was going to be I rip games from the internet. So
Yes.
plausible deniability all over the place. But anyway, so now I have that and the only game I played on it so far is maybe the first like 10% of Chrono Trigger.
That's amazing. So you got games on there like, and was it one that you had seen before, or that you did you just kind of pick it at random to start?
The games?
Yeah, or the Chrono Trigger specifically.
Oh, that one? Well, it was because since Nick helped me with this, he
Yeah.
was like uploading all his favorite games on there and he was like, "You'd like this, I think." And then like an hour later, I was talking to my friend Scott and he was like, "Have you heard of Chrono Trigger? You'd like it, I think." So it was just like two
Ooh.
back-to-back recommendations and I was like, "Whatever, I'll pull this one up first." So that's what
Yeah.
happened. And they were right.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you might have heard this by this point because you keep hearing it about it from people, but it's considered to be not just one of the greatest like JRPGs ever, but one of the best games of all time.
It's
It's,
fun.
and you're talking about your journey emulating this game. When I was like 12 and first got like my own computer, like I've talked about this on the show before, but me and my friend Eddie, this was like the first game we ever emulated, and I had never heard of it, and it totally captured me. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad to hear you're enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in your party right now? Like, have you gotten any additional characters yet?
Oh, yes. Shoot, but the last time I picked this game up was like a couple months ago, so I'm not gonna remember their names. There's the bow and arrow person.
Yeah, Marl, I think, the
Yeah, yeah.
princess.
I have two people with me right now. Or last time I played, I was with two people. So I had the princess and
And your inventor friend, probably, Luca.
yes.
Lucas,
Yes,
they're
Luca.
cool.
That's right.
They're wonderful. There are some absolute favorite characters of like many people to come for you too.
Okay.
But I won't spoil those, but
Okay.
that's amazing. I
Yeah.
know that speaking of the analog pocket and playing handheld games, something that's come up, I think, in just like brief texting conversation for us over the last few years is that I want to say that you've gotten into playing new games made for old hardware. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm referring to? I don't even know how to like
Yeah.
categorize it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like no, it's exactly what you said. It's like people are making those old Game Boy cartridges, but with updated, like they're putting indie games onto these. So like
Yes.
whatever you download from the like Nintendo Switch store, you can
Hmm.
like get a hard copy and like pop it into your
Oh,
Game Boy.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had like seen you posted on your story or you just messaged me about it, but it's so fun to like because I think of you as a gamer, but I'm also pretty correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't spend like thankfully like me, spend all your time gaming. But
Yeah, it's
okay.
phases for me. Just like
Yes.
I switch off between like watching, binging a show,
Yeah,
reading a book, or like playing a game with all of my free times. I'm
totally.
currently in read a book stage, so I haven't played a game, I
Yes.
guess, since Chrono Trigger a couple weeks, months ago. I don't remember. But yes, you're right that I don't. I wish that I did. It always sounds so fun to like plow through a ton of games all the
I,
time.
I'll tell you, I still have like I'll have I think part of why the reason I do it is I mean because I of course I enjoy it, but I've given myself essentially this job that requires me to play games all the time for
Good for
podcasts.
you.
So that helps, but I will say like even I know myself or like mutual friend Matt Apodaca, he we everyone goes through a period where they're like, "You know what? I'm a little burnt out and I'm going to watch some TV or do something
Mm-hmm.
else." I sort of brought that up to say that you being a different sort of like category of gamer than me, it's still so fun and interesting to me that like you found this way to game or
Oh
these
yeah.
little cartridges. It's so I just thought it was super fascinating.
Oh, thank you.
You
Yes, it's
bet.
very fun.
You brought up books, and even though
I
this
did.
isn't a reading podcast,
Uh-oh.
are you reading anything right now?
Yeah, but look,
You don't want to talk about it?
I read some straight garbage, man. Some straight up like sci-fi sapphic romances.
Great, great,
Like
great.
nothing I'm here to recommend.
I love it. We'll keep that private. We'll talk about our
Yes.
emulating, but we'll keep the books private.
Don't you dare. The government will come for me.
I love it. So you got this analog pocket.
Mhm.
What other consoles are you rocking at home right now? I know you got a Switch.
I have a Switch. I have a PS4. What's the one that's out right now? The 5.
The 5, yes.
Okay, so I have one behind. I'm always one behind on my
Hmm.
PlayStations. So I have
I
PS4.
I think I remember when you got your PS4, didn't you get it with like 3 games?
I did. Yes, it was
Yeah,
like two digital downloads and then one that I got myself or something. Or I did the Black Friday sale and it was like buy three get one free or something. It
that's
was
what it
awesome.
was.
What else do I have? Oh, I have a Game Boy. Did I say Advance? Yeah, Advance SP, the one that like you open up,
Oh, cool.
like yeah, like the flip phone of Game Boys. I have
Yes.
that. Uh, and but not the DS. I know that one opened up too. This was like before that.
Yeah, this
You
is
know,
the
you
Game
know.
Boy. Oh, I definitely do. It's like the clamshell. It has the
Yes.
light in it, which was new. But
Yes.
strangely, something that I was reminded about that console because I love it. I love the form factor. Um, but it has no headphone jack, which is kind of funky.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what?
the.
I always play my games on silent. Is that awful?
It's not awful to each their own. Absolutely. I mean, I'm
I
gonna be
know.
reporting you, but like I'll tell
Yeah.
you now, just because we're face to face, that it's okay.
I know that game music is like its whole thing, its own thing, and it's all very impressive. Okay, I don't do that with like the PlayStation or the Switch,
Mhm.
but anytime I played anything handheld, it was like no volume.
Yes. And as much as I'm someone who loves game music of all varieties, whether it's like hearing like a literal orchestra compose something for Spider-Man or like the bleeps and bloops of like chiptune music for like a Game Boy Advance, I love all that. But I can
Hmm.
understand if someone was like, I've heard enough bleeps and bloops. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this volume off and like either sit in silence or listen to music or a podcast or something.
Yeah. And I just sit in silence and I play that game in silence. So
I
that's
love
me.
it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
This is great. So we've gotten a little taste of some of your, like recent gaming
Oh, I have
history.
another game I've been playing.
Hit me with it.
Uh, with Haley, my wife. We
Yes.
do like co-ops on the Switch because she doesn't like to play games a lot, but if
Uh-huh.
I find like a co-op game, she's like, okay, fine. We're playing
Ooh.
what the heck is it called? It Takes Two, the divorce one. You know?
Is this a test you're doing?
Yeah, we're testing to see if we can get back together.
Because you're what, like 2, 3 years into being married?
Yeah, how long? 2022? No,
So coming up on
23.
two?
I should know this. Don't tell her I don't
I
know.
shouldn't have asked you this on the pod.
I think two. Yeah, two.
Okay, cool.
A little over two, maybe. I don't. Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
take it. Yeah.
Cool, 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 cool,
But
cool.
what do you think about this game? And because I actually played like almost the whole game with PJ McCormick because PJ had moved away during the pandemic and moved to like take care of some stuff at home in
Mm-hmm.
Texas. When he moved back, he lived with me for about 2 weeks while he found a place to live. And this game had just come out, so it was like PJ and I were going through our own version of It
Cute.
Takes Two. But yeah, what anything to say about it?
I love this game. I think that the like problem solving co-op puzzle part of it is actually really fun. I
Yeah.
like when you play a co-op game and the other person actually has to be doing something for your character to be doing so like it's true teamwork because we played some other one. Oh, we played Unravel too, and it was like
Oh.
if Haley couldn't figure it out, I would just do the whole level basically, and she just
Hmm.
follows me, and it would just felt like one player, but two of us
Yeah,
were there.
definitely.
So this game is good because each person has their responsibilities, but then also that's the frustrating part because Haley is like not doesn't play games, so it's not that she's bad at them. She just
Yes.
is like not doesn't maneuver as well. And so I just sometimes sit there and wait for her to fall off something 15 times before she makes it. Which I think is cute. So ultimately we're having a great time. We don't like the book character.
Oh,
Um
is that kind of the antagonist?
yeah, it's like
Kind
the
of?
love book who's like trying to force them to learn lessons, but he has like an
Yes.
accent that we don't understand. Like
Yeah,
he's
is
got
it
kind of
like
a Middle
weird
Eastern
British?
name. No, he's a Middle
Oh,
Eastern name, but like a Spanish Latin accent.
huh.
And we sort of don't know what's up with that guy.
Yeah.
We don't like the book.
That makes a lot of sense. Uh, so strange. It's been 3 years since I've touched it, but th- I will not. I'm now refusing to go back because I'm not seeing this book guy. I'm not letting
Yeah,
him
yeah,
into my
yeah.
life.
I don't like him.
That's fun though.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. I've got two questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
One might be too weird of a question, so feel free to be like, I don't have any good answer for it. We can move on. And the
Okay.
question is, since you first came on the show in, roughly early 2020, up until now, how would you say your relationship with gaming has changed? Is it about the same as it was back then? Is it different? Kind of a big question, but I wanted to throw it at you.
Um, I think it's different in that maybe we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this on the Skyrim group episode that I
Yeah.
did or not. Maybe we didn't, but here's a new thing. No, I maybe have told you this. Games make me cry now, and that's new.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes, I wasn't usually like I feel like there's the story of these games is like the PlayStation games I'm playing are like so extreme. And then I
Totally.
cry and I want the games to make me cry.
Yes.
So that's the difference. I used to just play them and be like, ugh, whatever. That was
Yeah.
fun. That was fun, I guess. But then now I'm like in the middle that takes a huge turn and then I cry like I'm watching an Oscar movie or something
Yeah.
and then back to beating the game. But like
Yeah.
that's new for me.
That kind of makes sense, especially, since you mentioned it's a lot of the PlayStation games. These like
Mm-hmm.
so Sony, as you could probably have gathered from the games that they make now, it seems like they only make one type of game, which is sort of like a prestige third person action game with a really significant narrative focus, whether it's like The Last of Us, God of War,
Okay,
um,
those are the two that made me cry. So
there we
yes.
go. Even like like the Spider-Man
Spider-Man was the third
games,
one that made me cry. Yes.
they'll do it. And I'm trying to remember, like, I've kind of been on a streak like you too, where games are making me more emotional than they used to. There was a moment in not a Sony game, but I played the newest Zelda Tears of the Kingdom last year,
Mm.
and I loved it. It's truly, I'm gonna actually have to have you back again because I do these special. This is a tangent, but I do these special top 10 episodes where I bring back three guests at a time to list their top 10 favorite games ever.
Ooh. Ooh.
It's an impossible exercise. In fact, the episode before yours, on the Wednesday this is coming out, the week before we did another one, but Tears of the Kingdom is like has moved into it's tied for my favorite game ever now.
Wow.
And there was a moment, I feel a lot of really great emotional moments in that game, but one that like I was just like sitting on the couch playing by myself, and it just like I was getting so worked up and like emotional, and so I can just relate. It's kind of also feels like a new thing for me too.
I love it.
Yeah. Um Great. So the way the relationship with games has changed is that they make you cry, especially as we get into, our real adult lives. It kind of makes
Yeah, man.
sense. I'm a lot more, I feel like I'm even more, I've always been a sensitive boy. I feel like I'm more sensitive now.
You're so sweet.
That's all I really came. I just had wanted to have you on to hear that. The
And
last
it's true.
Thank you. The
Yeah.
the last question I have for you, um, about just your recent history with games is there anything that you are looking forward to playing, whether that's a new game that you've seen advertised that's coming out, or a game you haven't had the chance to get to yet that's in your backlog?
Okay, yes. And you may have noticed, but I don't remember names of things. But when I describe them, you always know them. So that's the type
Huge.
of gamer I am. The
And this
new
is a
that
game in itself on the pod.
yes, you guessing what I'm talking about. This one's obvious though. It's the new Switch game where you play as the princess
Zelda?
Zelda. Yeah,
Awesome. I
I
mean,
want to play that game.
I think when your episode comes out, that's coming out in like 9 days.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
I gotta
wait.
pre-order that thing. I gotta get it.
Me too. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, I believe it's called. I'm also so excited. Did you play the Link's Awakening remake on
I
the Switch
did.
in the same art
Yes.
style?
Yes, I played that and I hadn't played the original Link's Awakening, so I've only played the new released one. Yeah, loved
Okay,
it.
cool. I bet
Mm-hmm.
not that this has to work for you, but I bet as someone who enjoys a truly like a Game Boy or Game Boy Advance game, I think you'd probably like the original. It's really charming too, but yeah, is there anything, have you just seen trailers for the new game and you're just excited about it?
Yeah, that's kind of it. I just
Cool.
remember I liked that last one, The Link's Awakening, and I
Yeah.
was like, this looks the same, and you get to be princess, and I was like, sold, easy,
Yeah. I
done
mean, this
deal.
is something that I feel like has, especially as someone I'm just so plugged into like some gaming discourse. This is something people have wanted forever, is a game where you can play as Zelda. A lot of people were hoping that was going to happen with Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh and this is like the game I'm most excited for this year as well. And not just because you get to play as her, that is really cool, but some of the stuff they've shown in the trailer as far as like her abilities, I have just looks really great.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, is there any game in recent history that you would be so bummed you haven't mentioned before we head to break?
Yes. Uh, yes, because I want them to make another one of
Ooh.
this storyline of game. And as you can tell, I'm only bringing up very popular games everyone's heard of. But I did love Luigi's Mansion. I
Ooh.
freaking love that. I love a puzzle game. I love when you have to like
Mm-hmm.
figure out what's going on in a room to get to the next place or whatever. So
Yeah.
I like all the like the Zelda puzzle ones and all yeah, whatever. So I want someone to make another one for the Switch because I played what was it, 2? Luigi's Mansion 2 is
2 just
the
came out like this year. It was like a 3DS game that they brought, but 3 was the new one.
3 was the new one. Whichever one I played on my Switch and I loved
Yeah.
it.
I
Give
bet
me
it
another
was
one.
I would guess it was 3. Are you like at a hotel that you're essentially
Yeah,
going
yeah,
in
yeah,
different
yeah, the
floors?
hotel. Yes.
I mean, that is I that game came out on Halloween in like 2019, and it's one of my favorite Switch games, period.
I loved it. I want more. Someone make another one. Even if it's
Please.
the same game, copy paste,
Yeah.
different puzzles. I'll love it the same. I love that game.
Yes, it is so good. Well, thanks for talking about, Luigi's Mansion 3 and your recent history with gaming, Kimia. This has already been so fun to catch up. Before we're gonna go ahead and just head to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll, discuss all things Shrek Super Party. So I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Call Me by Your Game. Once again, Connor McCabe here, returning to finally get into the main event with my guest, Kimia Bephoornia. Kimia, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Like I said before the break, too, we're finally going to discuss Shrek Super Party, the game that you've brought on for today's main event. I'm so pumped to get into it. And like I told you as well, I'm going to start with a little table setting about what this game is to familiarize the listener. But if you want to jump in and be like, oh, Connor, this is an important detail before we jump into my history, you've got the green light.
Okay, cool.
All right.
You go. Yeah.
Here we are. So without further ado, Shrek Super Party is a Mario Party style video game developed by Mass Media and published by TDK Interactive. It is, of course, based on the Shrek franchise, having come out 1 year after the first film's release. So basically anything in this game, it's Shrek 1, and that's it. There's no additional Shrek content in here.
Mm-hmm.
The game was released simultaneously on the Xbox and PlayStation 2 on November 14th, 2002, and
Wow.
the GameCube version was released over 6 months later in North America and PAL regions.
Boo, GameCube!
Hey, I'm just
Get
gonna
out of here!
I'm gonna be a good host and let it slide. In the game, you play as either Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, Lord Farquaad, Monsieur Hood, or Felonious, who's the executioner.
My guy Thelonious.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. The goal of Shrek Super Party is to collect the most droplets, the main reward in the game, which they're sort of like a coin equivalent in Super Mario Party. Also a couple notable things about this game is that for some reason in this game, the characters all have enormous heads.
Yes.
So it's like, I was really surprised to see that the animation for this looks like very strikingly similar to the quality of the movies in some ways, except it's kind of like Big Head mode, which was like a cheat code in old video games,
Oh yeah.
whether it was
Yes.
like GoldenEye or like NFL Blitz, but this is like it's a feature part of it. The game was met, brace yourself, with negative reviews upon
Oh
release. Game
God.
Rankings and Metacritic gave it a score of 47% and 30 out of 100 for the PlayStation 2 version. But let's be clear, they don't speak for all gamers.
That's right.
As far as context goes or little details about the game, is there anything else that you want to include?
No. I just want to add that I miss this thing we used to do. Maybe you know that we still do this, but in my view, it doesn't happen anymore where
Mm,
you like a show or a movie comes out and they just release a copy paste of some popular game, but with the characters
yes,
of it's like double releases. You get the
totally.
game version, you get the movie, and it like was for everything, like growing up, like every dumb like Chicken Run had a game or like
Yeah.
whatever. Like they all just like came out also with a game.
Yes.
And I feel like it doesn't happen anymore. Is that happening?
I think you're right. It's pretty rare. It seemed because I also lived for those like licensed property games. Like as a kid, loved like each Harry Potter movie game. I
Oh yeah.
loved, or at least up until a certain point, the Spider-Man games that were based on the movies. Now I feel like when we get a property, it's like based on the world or a new story in that world.
Yeah.
And so I miss that too. It was like and I feel like there were some of them were bad, but
Of
some of
course. They
them,
most of them were bad.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty fair. Um,
Yeah.
but some of them, like I found one of the reasons I like games like that is that it would put me in the world of a game or like a movie or a book that I liked, and
Hmm.
couldn't really ask for much more. So, yeah, it's too bad that that's not a part of our reality anymore, really.
Yeah. Like I also played a Lion King game on Game Boy.
Yeah.
You just were Simba and it was like a side scroll and you just go through the jungle. It wasn't great, but it was like I was the audience for this. I was buying all of the
Yes.
movie tie-in games.
Yes, absolutely. My Amanda, my girlfriend, has this like fascination about this Madagascar game that
Okay,
she
yeah, I
had.
can see it in my head, the cover.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one I've been meaning to like just be like, it's gotta be $5 on eBay. I should just buy it to have.
Yeah, you should.
But you're right, truly a golden era for this. Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's get into your history with this
Okay.
game. How did you come to play it at all?
Great question. I definitely played it on the PlayStation Stand
Of
over
course.
here. And it was this game and funny enough, SSX Tricky. Those were like the games I was burning into the PlayStation in this same era. So I
Yeah,
feel like what was it? I was in like middle school or something.
sure.
I loved Mario Party. I'd played that since I was little.
Cool.
And then I think I got this as unlocked. I got this as a birthday present.
Oh my gosh.
It was a birthday present somebody got me. Back when Shrek was huge. It was our favorite movie. It's like cyclical now. Everyone's like Shrek is awesome. I don't know. I can't tell if it's ironic now or if people actually like it again.
Yeah, like have we warmed up to it once again or
It was actually amazing when it first came
yes.
out for us. And so it was like that year that it came out. Someone got it for me for my birthday or whatever. And then popped it in and instantly favorite game. I'd play it with my best friend Sophia anytime she was over, which
Oh
was
my
a lot.
gosh.
We just played Shrek Super Party. I also played this with my cousins anytime they were over, which was like
Yeah.
every weekend. And I like Google imaged the game because I tried to get it on something. I bet I could do better research, but like I want to play it again because I
Yeah.
don't have it anymore. But like just looking at all these pictures, I was like, I remember every single mini game. That's like how much we played this game. And I played as Thelonious every
Yes.
time, who I don't think they say his name in the movie once,
Yes.
but I know his name
That's
from the
what
game.
that's I felt the same way, which is why I felt the need to editorialize the intro and say that Thelonious, the executioner, everyone else, it's pretty obvious who they are.
Yes, yes. And I forgot it's not Robin Hood, it's Monsieur Hood. And I
Yes.
can hear the voice in the game
Mm-hmm.
that says everyone's name in my brain. That's how much I like played this game. This
Yes.
dumb game. It was just fun. And it's like Mario Party, but a little like gross, you know?
Yeah,
You
for
know how like
sure.
Ren and Stimpy's a cartoon, but you feel like it's gross. So you're like, ooh, I like this. It's edgy. It
Yes.
was like that. Mario Party's too soft, right? This one is like crunchy.
Totally. Oh, wow. There's already just so much to dive into. The first of which is that are you referring to Sofia Grosso?
Yes, I am.
Oh, like I knew that I think when we first met and were doing practice at your place back in
Mm-hmm.
2017, you lived together, but
Yeah.
am I think I'm learning that you've known each other forever?
That's my oldest friend. We've been friends since fifth grade.
Oh my gosh, I haven't
Yeah.
seen Sophia in so long, but she's just the best.
She's the best.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was a tangent for me.
That was a lovely tangent.
But thank you.
We had to talk about that.
Truly, like there are people in my life that I don't like to be reminded of because I don't like them. Sophia is the opposite, where it just makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So Sophia, I know you're listening. I miss you. Um, but as far as the movies go, that makes so much sense that like, of course, we're the prime age for these
Mm-hmm.
films when they came out. Uh, and they just became obviously such a phenomenon. This is a tangent about me. That they are like Amanda loves Shrek, specifically the first two movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we around her birthday this year, we watched Shrek 1, and I hadn't seen this movie Kimia in like 20 years,
Yeah.
and I really feel like it holds up
It
like
rocks. It's a
very well.
good movie.
It's amazing. I felt like, and then we were like, oh well, because I think the Shrek 5 got announced that it was in development.
Yeah, worried about that, but okay.
Yes, very concerned. But because of that, we were like, well, we kind of gotta watch all of them. So we watched
Mm-hmm.
Shrek 2, which also I'll say was pretty good, but I could already see in Shrek 2 the like because Shrek 1, obvious like one of the big appeals of it was all the pop culture references, or
Yeah.
whether it's like movies or sort of meta jokes, and which I felt like they had a pretty good balance for that movie. And even in 2, again, for all the fans out there, I like 2.
Mm-hmm.
You can already see it start to teeter a little farther. And
Yes.
so as I've been telling people that were rewatching these movies, they're like, "Oh, are you gonna watch 3 as well?" And
Mm-hmm.
I plan on it, but I know it's coming, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it what, which one's Justin Timberlake in?
He's not in 2. He might
Okay,
be in
good.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it started to go off a little off the deep end there.
Yeah.
Where is he dating Cameron Diaz when he did the Shrek movie?
I can't say. I
Because
wish I knew
in
the
my,
answer.
I only think of this because I think I thought that when they said he was going to be in the next Shrek movie, I was like, why? It's just because
Oh,
he's dating Cameron
yeah.
Diaz, isn't it? I was like, "Ugh, I don't need this in my animated movies. Like, get
No,
this out of here."
that's so funny. I thank you for letting me spend a little time talking about not just the movies, but like my recent history, because that was honestly, half the reason I was excited for you to bring this one
Oh
on
yeah.
was because I was like, I've had Shrek on the brain.
Oh, good.
We were getting into a little bit of some of the details of what you enjoyed about playing this game.
Hmm.
What do you remember about the game itself sticking out? We talked about, you can still hear the voices. Was there
Oh
anything
yeah.
gameplay wise that you enjoyed?
Um, there's this mini game where you have to like round up some chickens, or you got like these eggs that hatch or something. And I
Okay.
remember what those little chickens look like. They hatch and then they follow you around, and you
Yes.
just have like a horde of white little specks around you. I remember the feeling of that game. Loved it. There was another mini game where you're like playing, I think you have to play like music. These are exactly games that they have in Mario Party, by the
Yes.
way, where you
Yeah.
like have to hit your button at the right time for your note to play. And
There we
you're like,
go.
so that game I remember it just, let's see, what else? I remember it was a little bit gross.
Mm-hmm. Shrek
I
Shrek
liked
itself
that.
has some like it's got some gross stuff, so it kind of makes sense.
Yes, and they did that in the game too, and I love that. The big heads you already mentioned. I remember their big heads.
So what if I wonder what the thought that even on the so it's one of those things with the cover of this game, which I don't think I had seen before. I love the cover. I
Yes.
think it's Shrek, Donkey, Farquaad and Fiona all on the cover with big heads.
Hmm.
And looking at that before I watched video, I was like, oh, this is just like a catchy way they're advertising the game. But no, that's what they look like
That's what
in
they
the
look
game.
like. Yeah, because think about it. They probably made this for almost no money, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just a tie-in with the movie.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be exactly what you see is what you're getting here. So the cover is just a pull from inside the game. Characters like pasted on. Someone graphic designed that. Um and I like that about the game, that it was like no frilzy, like oh, there was a scooter game that was also good. There's like
Yeah.
maybe two people listening to this and going like, "Wow, yeah, the scooter game."
Well, I mean, that's like this is one of those things that I do really love about the show because we get plenty of obviously incredibly popular games. The first one you brought on, Tricky, it like
Oh yeah.
resonates with so many people. This is probably going to be more niche, so I'm happy for those two people who are like, I know the scooter
Yes.
game.
I
Uh,
loved this game. I
I
don't know why.
when watching video, like I watched someone kind of just play a game of Shrek Super Party.
Mm-hmm.
Some of what I found most enjoyable just as an observer was seeing how they translated this sort of Mario Party style stuff into Shrek. Um, One of those things was sort of the guide through the game is the magic mirror or the mirror from I don't remember,
Yes.
would that be Sleeping Beauty technically that it's referencing?
The No, Snow White, the
Snow
evil
White,
mirror.
yes, thank
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you. Gosh, I
Yeah.
was just at Disneyland. You'd think I'd know
Yeah, come
my
on, get
my
it together.
gosh, I'm so sorry. I love that that's kind of your guide because I feel like in Mario Party it's often like a toad being like, this is what's happening next turn.
Yes.
Or it's it's Luigi or Donkey's turn or whatever. That was
Mm-hmm.
cool. And then I was wondering I loved seeing that the dice rolling mechanic, I think had something to do with like fairy and like a little ball rolling around like a
Oh
board.
yeah. Yes, that's how you do your steps. Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
I I love this. Oh, and you could land on the holes and they could give you prizes too, right? Like
Yes,
I'm
I
seeing it in my brain, but I'm explaining it so bad.
no, you're right. Like it was kind of like in Mario Party where you roll, you land on a regular space where let's say you get 3 coins, and then there's like a secret bonus
Yes.
on that space. And this, yeah, I saw one time Shrek rolled, moved like 7 spaces, and then the mirror popped up and was like, Shrek also gets a bonus this. I don't know if it was like a usable item or droplets or what.
Yes,
Uh
yes.
but From what you remember, because I
Okay.
didn't finish this video, it seemed to me that the goal was to get a certain amount of droplets. It was like,
Yeah.
is it first who reaches, let's say it's 300 is the goal. Whoever reaches that first wins?
Yes, I think because you everyone has like a little vial they're trying to fill up. So that's what the droplets are. So
Okay,
once your
gotcha.
like potion fills up, you win.
Something like that. And I don't even
I'm trying
know.
to remember along with you.
I could have done
Mostly
more
I
research too and been like,
no.
what was this? Like, watch the end of it and be like, what does the potion do? But who cares?
Who cares? We're worried
Uh,
about the story element of the Shrek Super Party game. Get
yeah.
out of here.
Did you find that this game like tickled the funny itch like the Shrek movie did? Like, is it funny? Do you remember it
Um,
being funny as you played through it?
I remember laughing a lot. I don't know if it
Yeah.
was because I love my cousins and I love Sophia, and that's
Yeah.
like who I attach this game to. But we would just play this and like laugh and laugh. There was also bugs. There
Yes.
were bugs involved.
The first game I saw was just people scooping up bugs.
Yes, yes. But you also get like bonus points or droplets if you like have it was like poker in that way. If you had like five of the same bug, you get a super bonus, or you could do
Oh,
like
interesting.
two of one bug, three of another bug, and that's like a whatever full house,
Yeah.
two of a kind, three of a kind. Anyways, so there was that. It just had a lot of elements here that I'm slowly remembering.
Yeah. They'll probably even like, on your the rest of your day, wherever that takes you,
Yeah,
stuff's gonna be rolling back in your brain.
I'm gonna try to
Just
find this game. I want to play this game.
I genuinely do too. And I have a PlayStation 2, so I'd say this to a lot of guests who bring on weird games like this from the era, and I am calling it weird. I
It's
would
weird.
love to play like a round of this at some point. So we'll see what we can make
Uh-huh.
happen. Um, you were as we were talking, I was asking you about the funny element of the game. You had reminded me of playing with this with your cousins and Sophia. I want to get into some more of that context, and
Hmm.
I'd like to start by doing a little scene painting. Can
Okay.
you sort of scene paint wherever your PS2 would have been set up when you would have been playing this game?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so it was back when I lived in a townhouse out in Silmar, California, and
Nice.
the downstairs TV right next to the fireplace, that's where I had the PlayStation, and I had a beanbag chair
Oh,
because those rocked when we were growing up. Like in the 90s, that was like the coolest thing to have. That and the
yes.
like see-through inflatable chair. Okay, but I had a giant red beanbag chair. And so I would sit in that and and Sophia would sit on the floor. I'd let her sit in the beanbag chair. We'd like switch off. I'm not a monster. Um, but there were also like two big couches in that room, so my cousins would sit on the couches because I don't know why Sophia sat on the floor. That seemed to be a choice, and that just popped into my mind. Okay, so we're sitting there. It's back when you had to like be attached to the PlayStation.
Yes.
So when my cousin sat on the couch, there was one controller that had the extra long
Oh,
cable. So
nice.
only one person could lounge on the couch. Everyone else had to be like right up against the TV. It was probably usually a weekend. We played this in the daytime. This is a very daytime game.
Yes.
It was like morning or afternoon. You don't play Shrek Super Party at night. I don't know. We just never did. There's probably like juice and some like chips and cookies or something around.
Ooh.
And we just play like 4 or 5 rounds of this in a row because like it's Mario Party. It takes like 40 minutes for one round. We just like
Yeah,
play this over and over and over, and that was a Saturday.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so great. Looking back at this time too, like contextually, do you have any like specific memories that are still bopping around in your brain of like a thing that happened or like an eventful game? I know this is like we're looking over 20 years in the past, so it might be a tough
Yeah.
question.
Um, no, not really.
Just
Other
more like
than,
like vague memory sort of thing.
yeah, it just was always a good time, a good sunny time. I'm thinking about my beanbag chair now and how that died. My cat peed on it, and you
No.
can't recover from that. You know what I mean? Cat
No, I
pee.
mean any furniture that's like a whole like I have a cat, I've dealt with that before. Like that's a
Yeah.
whole process, but like yeah, getting in a beanbag chair, it's like that thing's done.
That it's over. It'll
Yeah.
never smell right ever again.
Do you remember what would you sit on the couch after that? Like it feels like an end of an era, sort of.
Yeah, it does. No, I just kind of also sat on the floor. That's why we were sitting on the floor because you had to be like close to the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would sit on a pillow on the floor. That was that.
Dang, every time you
Sad.
look at the pillow, just remembering what you had with the
What I
red
had
bean bag.
before. I
Yeah.
know. Sad.
uh I love details like that. When, thinking about this sort of like time when you all would have been playing this game, outside of the game itself, do you remember other things that you would all get up to, whether it was like other activities you would do or like a summer memory that sticks out from this time? Could
Uh,
be specific or broad.
Great question. No, I feel like a memory that came up right away was when Sophia was over and we were playing Shrek Super Party after one of the times. Then we watched a Kids' Choice Awards. Very that era. Do you know what I mean? So that was like the evening. Like from day, we played all day Shrek Super Party, and then at night, watch people get slimed.
That
And
is
that
like
was
the kid's ideal day. You
that
lived
it
it?
was awesome. It was so good. So there was
That's
that.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness, just slime after slime. Like, what more could
Yeah.
you have asked? What did you have? Ice cream for dinner? Like the best day ever?
Probably cereal. I love cereal. Oh my God. That's
Ooh.
just cereal and video games. I would eat like this is probably bad and my parents shouldn't have let me do it, but I'm
Yeah.
still alive and who cares? I would eat like a whole box of cereal on a
Wow.
Saturday. Just me, just pouring
Yes.
like 4 to 5 bowls in a row.
Just going back to the well.
Just going for it.
That bowl is just like begging for mercy at that point.
Yeah.
What are I mean, look, I s- I'm barely able to get this out because I'm lusting after cereal myself. I don't eat cereal anymore, and it's not like a
Me
conscious
neither.
choice. I just like it's not a part of my routine, but if I'm ever at a store that has like any of those classic sugary cereals, like if I go
Mm-hmm.
walk through Gelson's instead of Trader Joe's, am I in Reese's Puffs? Am I in
Reese.
Captain Crunch? Like,
Yes.
what did you have a favorite cereal
You
back then?
said it. Okay, Reese's Puffs, Oreo O's.
I never had
Those
those.
rock. You never
Whoa.
had Oreo O's? Okay,
No.
they're so good. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
Yeah.
And then Cookie Crisp.
Oh, Cookie Crisp.
That's right. I would mix Cookie Crisp and Oreo O's together. So I was just having Oreos and Chips Ahoy in just
This
like a
is
cup
awesome.
with milk, like 5 in a row. I should be dead. It's so good. Those are the ones. What else? Well, now I also like tasteless cereals that just
Yeah.
make it milk but crunchy, like a
Hmm.
Crispix or whatever. I
Sure.
kind of think that's fun. I'm not doing it to be like no sugar. I just like now my taste buds also like that.
Yeah.
Sad.
Totally.
Uh what else? Lucky Charms,
Mm.
Tricks. Truly any cereal you put in front of me, it's over. The box is gone.
I don't remember. I think the only cereals that I didn't like as a kid were ones that I didn't think I would like a Raisin Bran
Yeah, don't
or
love
like
those.
there was like Fiber. Remember Fiber One? It was definitely an
Yeah.
old person cereal. Sorry,
Yeah.
aunt, uncles, and parents out there.
Get out of here. I don't want
Uh
those cereals.
I'm so glad you brought up cereal. That just
Yes.
I love I went on an ice cream tangent with someone recently, and this is feeling like it's scratching the same itch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I love it. Well, gosh, I've heard so many great things from you about, you know, this time in the game itself. I want to dig in just a little more before I have a couple final things to ask you. This era of Kimia, and this may be stuff we got into on the Tricky episode. Do
Mm-hmm.
you remember outside of Serial and Shrek Super Party, what were things that you would do as a kid, whether it were like interests you had, activities that you were doing? And does anything come to mind?
It probably is. I wonder if I said this on the Tricky episode, but it was like that was also the time when had like a skate gang down the street of
Oh,
my
it
townhouse.
was like your own rocket power.
Yeah, man. So this
Okay.
is like this is exactly the same era. I'm telling you, these are the two games I was like just putting in
I
there.
wonder if you mentioned Shrek Super Party on that. I should have
Oh my
listened to it
God.
before this one, but
No,
anyway.
you shouldn't have. Please don't go back. It's in the past.
Yeah.
We've done it. Okay, yes, I would do that. What else do I remember? Oh, I was probably in karate class while I was
Cool.
playing this game. I did that. I taekwondo. Sorry, I know they're different. I did taekwondo for like 7 years or something.
That is so cool. Is Taekwondo one of the like focused on self-defense? Or are they all focused on self-defense?
They're all self-defense. They're
Okay.
all like, don't use this. Only
Yeah.
use this if you have to.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
is an
Okay.
art. It's martial arts. We're doing this. It's basically gymnastics, okay?
Yeah.
But if someone's trying to hurt you, then you whoop their ass. That's like kind
Yeah.
of what it is.
Don't use this weapon, but we aren't gonna lock it up just in
Yes.
case.
You are
Uh,
the weapon and you will always be with you. So you deal with that.
wow.
Yeah. I actually got my black belt at UCB from Vic.
No way.
Yeah, it was a bit show, but like Vic is a black belt, so they are
That's
qualified to like test me
I
and
forgot about that.
give me a black belt. I have it. I sleep right next to it every night. It's on my bedside table, my black belt.
I would do the same. It's so funny. Martial arts are a thing that as a kid, I always deeply wanted to do, but I don't know if I ever even expressed that to my parents. I think it was just probably from like a love of like Ninja Turtles. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was really like martial arts in general were like really popular. Like among like I had classmates who did it, I remember one time they came like their little studio came and did a demonstration for our elementary school, and they all became the coolest kids we had ever seen.
Oh yeah. It was martial arts and skateboarding were like such a cool kid thing to do when
Big
we
time.
were in the 90s. That was it.
Yes.
That's how you become cool. Or you play drums.
Yeah. Yep. You do have the three options. So you, I mean, we know recently you got a black belt.
Yeah.
Do you still skate? When was the last time you skated?
No, man. I think I even gave my rollerblades away. I don't think I have any
Okay, so a
blades
blader, not a
anymore.
skater.
Yes, I had the blade. The skates. Yes, because the difference is the skates is like the two next to each other, two front, two back.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
That's a skate.
I apologize.
Blade
I was
is in a line. Oh,
thinking,
skateboard.
yeah,
Okay, yes, I had that. I was bad at that. I always wanted to be good at that, but
same.
I could just go down the street. That's it. I could ride
Yeah.
on a sidewalk. No bumps, please. Um, but my rollerblades, I could like do jumps. I could get around. I could like go on one foot, do a spin.
That's pretty cool.
I was it, but I don't have them anymore. No, I don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
Sad.
I don't think I've had rollerblades since I was a kid, but there was like one it was also a thing that felt really popular back then. I don't know if
Oh
kids do
yeah,
this still. Maybe it was a product of just, I'm gonna sound like almost like a boomer here, but like the age where you'd be outside more and
you're
just
not
running
wrong.
around.
You're not wrong. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly right.
things have just changed, but we had like I've been talking about myself a lot in this episode, but we had a couple roller rinks in town, but one in particular, gosh, I wish I remembered the name, but it was the thing where for some reason, every like elementary school in town at the end of the year, if like, assuming you were on good behavior, your whole class got to go, basically your whole school got to rent it out. Did you have something like this?
Yeah, yeah, of course. We had
Yes.
I don't remember if it was at a skate rink. A lot of bowling. It was a lot of
Oh,
bowling
bowling, cool.
parties. And go-karts.
Yes.
Bowling and go-karts.
So much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Roller King. Oh
Okay.
my gosh,
Amazing.
I'm so glad I remembered that. Wow. Okay, good. I'm glad I fished for some of those extra details. That's awesome. As we sort of wrap up this time here, before we move on to the post-show segments, would you do me a favor and just like wrap up whatever place Shrek Party held for you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you know what? I think this might be a wrap on just what games come up for me in my heart when you say what's a nostalgic game for you. It is
Wow.
SSX Tricky and Shrek Super Party. Those are the
Mhm.
ones, and it's all in this one era. I'm so glad you asked all these questions because it
Yeah.
sent me right back to this such a specific slice of life
Yes.
time. So thank you, Shrek Super Party, for the slime. Thanks for the pizzas and the rollerblades. And thank you for the big heads.
I love it. I don't know if we've had someone wrap up their thoughts with like essentially a little thank you letter, but that was very sweet. And
That's just what it
Kimia,
felt like, you know? We were
truly,
getting there. I'll like circle that part of my life, send it off.
absolutely. Well, Kimia, thank you for bringing on Shrek Super Party to this podcast. Like, I'll talk about any game, but the weirder ones that I can get, or weirder, excuse me, the more niche ones, the less popular ones I can talk about. It just sort of uncovers a whole new corner that I may never get to. So thank you.
Oh, of course.
But before we go, though, I of course have some post-show segments. The first of which is the Fact Me by Your Game segment. And I'm just going to share some fun facts with you about Shrek Super Party today. And I've got two. How does that sound?
I love this.
All right. The first of which, so these both I sourced these from the Shrek Super Party article on the fandom.wiki website. So these come from there.
Mm-hmm.
The first of which is I have titled Actors, Oh Actors, Where Are Thou, Voice Actors? Because out of the many voice actors from the film, only one would reprise their role for Shrek Super Party. And this was the actor, Chris Miller, who voiced the Magic Mirror, your guide throughout the game.
Uh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why the Magic Mirror is such a huge character.
Yeah,
They
they're
probably
like,
went out to the actors and they were like, "Hey, who wants to come back?" And this
yes.
guy was like, "Me." And they're like, "Great, I guess you're the main character."
Yeah. Which totally makes sense, especially for, like, I think a lot of games of this era that didn't really happen. Famously, Tobey Maguire did voice himself in the Spider-Man games,
Ooh,
which is awesome, but like kind of makes sense that like Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy and Cameron
yeah.
Diaz and Lithgow aren't doing that for a for a video game, but I guess Chris Miller, shout out to you. The second fact I have for you, I have titled "No Sequels, Squeakquels," but there was a Muppets spiritual successor. That's my Kermit the
That
Frog.
was really good.
Thank you. I shouldn't have even done that because I've had Kermit the Frog was a guest on an episode back in 2021.
Oh my God.
So Kermit, if you're listening, I'm sorry for doing that. That'd be like
Kermit,
if I
hi.
impersonated you, Kimia, on a future episode.
Well, you could, and
Okay.
you can if you
Hear
want.
that? I got permission. Anyway, uh, there was sadly never a direct sequel to Shrek Super Party. I wondered this. I looked this up because, I assumed after the first one, especially with multiple movies coming out kind of shortly after, there had to have been, but there wasn't. However, almost exactly 1 year later, released on November 13th, 2003, Mass Media and TDK Media Active teamed up yet again for nearly well, it's not identical, but a very similar party game using the same engine and some other similar elements in Jim Henson's Muppets Party Cruise. Have you heard of this game?
No, but I absolutely have to play Muppets Party Cruise. Oh my
I
God.
do genuinely want to play this someday. This was released for the PS2 and the GameCube on the same day, and it added a handful of features not included in Shrek Super Party and received average reviews from critics. So, a little upgrade from the critics, I guess.
Wait, but why? Come on.
I couldn't tell you. I didn't look it up enough about it, but
Okay, I'm looking at the images and they're not doing the big head thing, so
they abandoned. You know what? They were like, we've got to let Shrek have its thing, and that's
already a
big head mode.
downgrade, I think.
Yes. Uh, So while there wasn't, this is like a little additional anecdote for this fact, is that while there was never a direct sequel, there was a spiritual successor called Shrek's Carnival Craze, which reviewed much better. Actually, it appears that this is a pretty dang good Mario Party like. I
Oh my
want to
God.
say, what year did this come out? I need to look it up. I want to say it was like, let's see, Shrek's Car. There we go. This came out in like the PS3, Wii era. There was a DS, a Nintendo DS version for it. 2008 was when this game
Wow.
came out.
Okay.
Um, anyway, that'll do it for the Fact Me by Your Game segment. And I will lead us into the final one of the podcast. Kimia, this is, of course, the game recommendations. And this segment is my forced tie-in to the movie Call Me By Your Name, where I'm going to treat Shrek Super Party as your passionate summer fling that you have in Italy. Your Army Hammer, if you will.
You
Now,
still do that? You still bring him
I
up?
still do that, and I'm really doubling down on it.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I could just say the character's name, but I don't remember it.
No, it's
Probably
okay.
Troy or something like that.
Sure.
Um, anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to present to you three potential future flings to help you get over the heartbreak of it not working out with Shrek Super Party. So
Okay.
I've got 3 for you today. Are you ready to meet whoever's behind doors 1, 2, and 3?
I mean, good luck because the love I have for this game is unmatched. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
you may not go on a date with any of these.
No.
So the first of which is, if what you took away from this game was you love a party game with a bunch of freakazoids, I'll recommend a game for the Sega Dreamcast called Sonic Shuffle. And it's another Mario Party like, featuring the Sonic characters. Do you have any affinity for Sonic the Hedgehog or his buddies?
I feel like I played a Sonic game
Sure.
on Sega and I was like, I can't figure this out.
Not for you.
Much like a GameCube controller. I'm like, okay, make this easy. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So I don't dislike them.
Well, this is a game we have discussed on the podcast before. Skylar Madsen brought it on a couple years ago. Sonic Shuffle's your first. The second one is, if what you took away is Shrek is your guy, and you need another game featuring Shrek and his buds emulating another Mario style game, I'll recommend to you DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. This is a game that came out, I believe, in the year 2021, and appears to be a pretty dang good kart racer, featuring the likes of Shrek, Donkey, and probably others.
It looks good. I'm like Googling these as you say them. Looks, oh, they got the Kung Fu Panda guys in here. Love them.
So we just got
Okay.
all we want there. Um, DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. It's your second one. And the final recommendation for today is, if what you really took away from Shrek Super Party is you like some good, tasty DreamWorks slop. Give me the DreamWorks slop. I don't care how bad the game is. If it's got like a DreamWorks character in it, I'll play it. Then I'll recommend to you the sloppiest of them all, Fruit Ninja: Puss in Boots. And this is a Fruit Ninja spinoff from 2011 with a Puss in Boots coat of paint. How does that sound?
As someone who loved Fruit Ninja, this sounds pretty freaking good, actually.
Oh, yes. I love it. It's no surprise that I often save my what I consider the silliest bit for the last rec, and there it is. I love it though. I love that you love Fruit Ninja.
Oh
So
yeah.
to wrap up this segment, your 3 recs for today were Sonic Shuffle, DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing, and then, of course, Fruit Ninja: Puss in Boots. That'll do it for the segment, and that'll actually bring us to the end of the show. So before we go and plug whatever we want again today, Kimia, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This was so fun to catch up. I had a blast.
Thank you so much. You always take me back, take me back to my favorite places and my favorite games. So thank you, actually, Connor.
Oh,
Thank you, you sweet boy.
take note, future guests. This is how you want to butter me up. You're so welcome. This was truly so much fun. On our way out, I know you plugged Mamma Mia but Different earlier. Do you want to plug that and anything else on your way out?
Yeah, you just follow me at Child Clown. Child Clown on
That's on
Instagram.
Instagram? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I think that's the only place I'm at. I got rid of Twitter or X.
Oh,
Whatever it is. I don't have that. Just was like, what was I learning from there?
yeah.
Nothing that I
Truly,
can't get on Reddit.
if I wasn't like, ooh, maybe this will help grow my podcast, if the right person retweets it or finds it, then I would
Sure.
probably be gone too.
No, if I had a
I'll tell you,
podcast,
my jokes don't get as many likes as they used to.
They don't want jokes on there anymore. Just like summing up articles no one read.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my plug.
Awesome. Well, thank you for plugging that. I'll go ahead and just close us out with some plugs of my own. The cover art for Call Me By Your Game is done by Glenn J. You can find him and his other great works on Instagram at Glenn with 2 N's .jay. The show is produced, edited, and the original music is done by Jeremy Schmidt. If you want to thank him for the work he puts into this show, you should check out his podcast, Video Games, a comedy show, which, Kimia, were you on the episode where we did like a video game charcuterie board?
Yes.
This was like 3 years ago, but I thought you were on that one.
Sounds familiar.
Okay. I'm just going to say you were. So hopefully.
Please, me too. I was there.
There we go. Perfect. So you can thank Jeremy by listening to his podcast. It's also a part of this network. You can follow this podcast all over social media. There's links in the show notes to our Instagram, Twitter, and our Blue Sky and our TikTok as well. Same goes with the network, Super NPC Radio. There's links to all our social media there. And then as far as I go, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky. I stream video games on Twitch from time to time at twitch.tv/cons-is-cool69. And then lastly is if you've gotten to this point in the podcast and you like my conversations with people about video games, well, there's a ton more slop for you over at patreon.com/supernpcradio, where every single week we have bonus video game podcasts coming out for different tiers. So if you're interested in the co-op episodes I do once a month, which coming out a day before this is our co-op episode on Psychonauts 2, which lives on our Patreon and eventually be on YouTube. Check us out there. There's a bunch of tiers from $1 and up. So if you like me and you want to hear more stuff, check us out. Without further ado, that's going to do it for this episode of Call Me By Your Game. We will see you on the next one.